Hi everyone. Today we're gonna learn the basic JavaScripting. But before we deep dive into JavaScripting, let us have a quick overview about HTML, CSS, and JavaScripting. So what's the difference between them? Okay, HTML, these are tags that are used to display the contents using the browser. So we're using tag to display paragraph, headers, pictures, and many more. And while the CSS are used, or CSS properties are used to design or lay out the page. So this is more on the appearance of your UI and web page. And while JavaScripting, um, we use JavaScripting to make the web page interactive. Interactive in the sense that the user could send or read data from or to the server through an event or action. So like for instance, we're gonna click a submit button for to log in a certain page, or you can input a text to search for something in the web server. So those are just some common and simple events that can be done using form and to make your web page more interactive. So there is already an action involved from the user. So in today's discussion, we'll be discussing about the methods to display or display methods of JavaScripting. One is dot inner HTML. The other one is the documented write document dot get element by ID or console.log. So, but in this lesson, I will focus on the console.log. I'll just discuss the document.write and document.get element by ID and inner.html on the next session. And also we'll discuss the variable declaration of JavaScripting. Would that be similar to other programming languages? And then another one is the data type, conditional statements, loop statements. Okay, so let's start the demo. Okay, let's have this one, HTML. Okay, so as I mentioned, I will use the console.log for displaying the output. But before that, I would like to remind you that JavaScripting use the tag script, and it can be placed inside the head tag, or it can be placed inside the body tag. So again, we use the script tag so that user would know that this portion here in the HTML is a script or a JavaScript rather. Okay, so let's have this example. Console.log. Console.log is used to display strings or data in the console browser. Okay, for instance, welcome to JavaScript. So this is a string, and we wanted to display that one in the console of the browser. Okay, always remember that lines in JavaScripting should end with a semicolon, just like in Java or C programming or C++ or whatever programming languages. Okay, let's say we have to save this one, and then for us to see the result, we will copy this path, and then we go to the browser, and then paste this one here, the URL locator, and then you press enter. Now what you see is an empty page. So for us to see the output, just right click and then choose or click inspect. So from there you can see the console here, this one, console, and you can see the output, welcome to JavaScript. So we were able to display the string in the console, as you can see here. Okay, that's how we display the string to the console. So let's go back to our code. So what if the next one is variable declaration? So just like other programming languages, if there are, you need to declare the identifiers. So there are two types of identifiers. It can be an identifier that holds or it can be an identifier that which the content is changing. What we call that one as, we call that one as variable, and the other one is identifier that holds a constant value. Variable means the value is changing, and constant means the value is not changing all throughout the program. Okay, so how are we going to declare this identifier? So there are two ways to declare identifiers in JavaScript. You can use the let or you can use the var. Okay. So, sorry. For instance, we wanted to declare x here is equal to 10. So we are assigning value to x, which is 10. And you can also write here let y is equal to 5. So again, you can declare variables or identifier using the let or var key. Okay, so this is declaration. Let's try. And then before we go, we continue, we'll just try to label this one here. We have here the data type and then conditional. Then we also have the loop. Okay. So going back to identifiers. So identifier may have an integer or may contain an integer or may contain a decimal numbers or a double. So it can be like float, or it can be an object type, or it can be a boolean or a null value. So what we have here are integer. As you can see, we are not unlike other languages that you need to specify the data type, right? So but in JavaScripting, there is no need for you to specify the data type. So the var here means variant. It can be referred to a string, or it can be referred to, by the way, I forgot to write here, string type. Okay. Okay, it can contain a character, a string, or numeric value, something like that. So let's try here. Let's try to print the content of a certain variable. For instance, we wanted to display the content of y. So we'll just simply mention the variable, or we can write here that log x. Okay. And let's say we have here another variable, let's say name, and which is equal to Anna. Okay, so let's try to print console and then the name. Okay, yeah, name, and then wait, so I'll just write here welcome to JavaScript. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so in this example we wanted to display the value of y, and the other one is to display the value of x, and then the other one is we would like to display this message along with the value of the name Anna. So we use plus here to concatenate the content. Okay, let's try. Okay, for a while. So let's try to see the output, whether we're able to come up with the correct output. And you just refresh by pressing F5 here. Okay, so that's it. Welcome to JavaScripting. As you can see, these are the lines within the JavaScript within the script tag. You have here welcome to JavaScripting, then console.log that is 5, console.log x that is 10, and console.log welcome to JavaScript plus the name or the value of the name, which is Anna. So welcome to JavaScript Anna. So that's how we print the content of a variable regardless of the value, and also the use of or concatenating the content of different variables. Okay, so what if we are going to declare a constant value? Okay, to declare a constant value, you just simply write const, and then let's say the constant value of pi is equal to 3.1415, for instance. Okay, so as I mentioned just a while ago, identifier may have a constant value or a variable. Okay, so when you say constant, the content of that specific identifier is not changing all throughout the program or the script. So let's try. And then we have here the pi. So we will be expecting to have here the value of pi. Ooh. Okay, that's it. Okay, so how do we know that this is really constant? For instance, we wanted to override the value of pi to 3, and then we wanted to display the new content of pi. So we're gonna call pi here. So let us try to check if it's still correct. Okay. So what you have seen is an error because the assignment is done, or the new value of pi, we assign a new content or a new value of pi which is declared as constant, so that is already an error. Okay, so it means to say that the pi identifier or the content of the pi identifier could not be changed because it's already been declared as constant. So we have to erase this pi here. You can do that one unless it is not declared as a constant identifier. For instance, we change the value of y here. Let's say we have here 20, and let us try to check if the value of y is changing. So what we have here 20, so 20 overrides the value of y, which is 5, previously equal to 5. Let's move on to conditional statements. So these allows this execute block of statement in if ever the certain condition is set to true. For instance, we have here y 5 and x is 10. So let's try to establish conditional statement using the if or if else. Okay, so the syntax is you just write if, and then you have to specify the conditional statement here. Let's say, for instance, if x is greater than y, then we're going to execute a block of statement here. Inside the parentheses, we wanted to write here x is the largest, something like that. Okay, here. So let's try to save and check. Okay, for a while there's something wrong with our code. If x is greater than y, console.log. Since the new value of y is 20, then the y here, the 5 here, will be overwritten into 20. So based on our condition, x is greater than y, so this turns to false, or this evaluated to false, so therefore this block of statement will not be executed. So what we will do is we'll just write else here. So else means if the condition is false, then another block of code will be executed. Like for instance, we wanted to write here y is the largest. So what we have here is y is the largest, since the new value of y is 20 instead of 5. Okay, So that's how we implement if-else statement. What if there are several conditions? So we can implement that one using the nested if-else. Okay. For instance, we have here if x is greater than y, we'll just copy this one, this value here. Or we can write somewhere here. We just edit this one. So if this condition is true, then another if statement will be evaluated. Okay, so like for instance, if we'll change this y first here. Okay, so if y is greater than x, then if it's true, then there's another another condition to be evaluated, like if x is equal to 10, then a certain statement will be executed, like here. We'll try to change this one here, or okay. So for instance, if y is greater than x, if this statement is true, then the inside block of code will be evaluated then. So this one here will be evaluated. If x is equal to 10, which it so happened that it's true here, example, then we have to execute another block of code, which is console.log x is 10. Let's say x is 10. And if not, we'll have to write else here and then do another block of code. Let's say it's not. Okay, so let's try this. So let us try to check if our code is working. So we have here F5. Okay, so y is greater than x. Yes, it's true. So if it's true, then we have to execute this inner loop, inner if condition. If x is equal to 10, which is true, then console.log x is 10, which is here. So we have we're able to implement the if else correctly. So this is the inner or another nested if else, or the inner if else within the if else statement. So just still the same implementation with some other programming languages. Okay, let's move on to the loop statement. If we had if else similar to the other has similar implementation with other programming languages, then you would expect also the loop statements to be the same. Okay, so let's start with the for loop. So for instance, we have here for, and then so the format is, we have the control variable. You can use any control variable, and then we have here the condition, or somewhat like parang it's like a that prompts continue, and then the other one is the update. Okay, so since we have not discussed the array yet, so we'll not tackle this one first. So we have the basic implementation of loop. Now, as you can see, there is a var here because var will come out if the a certain variable is not being declared somewhere here within the script. So it means to say that you can declare any variable anywhere inside the script. So for instance, we wanted to display numbers from 0 to the value of x. So we have here x is equal to 5. So let's say we have var I is equal to 0, and then we have this one here, x, and then this one, the increment area here, and then we try to put here console.log the I. So we will call the I since we wanted to display the value of I from 0 to x, which is equal to 5. So it means to say that the iteration occurs 6 times. Okay, meaning to say the console.log will be performed 6 times. And no, I mean it's 5 times because we're using the less than x here. Okay, let's try to check if there is, or we got it correctly. Let's try. So we had it here. Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot it's the x, our new value of x is 10. Okay, we have it here. 10, it's 10. It's okay, so it means to say that we have here 0 to 9 since we started at 0, and we end to 9 because the operator here is less than. But if we're gonna put equal, then that's the time that 10 will be printed out. 0 to 10. So meaning to say that this statement will be executed 11 times starting from 0. Okay, let's try to execute this. So that's it. So how many times that the console.log I is performed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 11 times. So again, it means to say that console.log is repeated or executed 11 times. So that's how the for loop is implemented in JavaScript. Okay, what if the while? How do we perform the while? So it's still the same. While is has similar implementation with some other programming languages. So we just write while, and then the condition, say x, while x is not equal to y, which is y is 20 here. Y is 20, and then the x is 10. So while x is not equal to 20, then you have to do this, or we'll do this, or we'll repeat this console.log x, and then to terminate the condition, or the iteration rather, then we have to make the condition false, so we have to increment the x. So we have here x plus plus. Okay, so let's say for instance, so again, our initial value of x is 10 and our value of y is 20. And in the condition, if x is not yet equal to y, then we have to continue printing the value of x until such time it becomes equal to y, or until such time the condition will become false. Okay, so to make the condition becomes false, we need to have an increment statement. So we have here x plus plus. So let's say this one f5. So we have tried this one here. So this is x, which started the x, then increment the x, or that is x plus plus 11, 12, 13, 14, and so on until 19. Now, why only 19? Because on the 20th, on the last iteration of x, that becomes 20, and once it is evaluated here, the x is already equal to y, so therefore the condition is already false. So therefore we this console.log will no longer be executed. Okay, so as you can see, this is how these statements, conditional, loops, even the variable declaration and data type is implemented in JavaScripting or in JavaScript.